Released on October 8th, 1999, Fossil is the third Pokemon trading card game expansion and includes all of the remaining Gen 1 Pokemon that had not been printed in base set or jungle, except for Mew, which would be released shortly after as a promo card. The strategies utilized in the base to Fossil format are similar to those established during base to jungle, but expand on them in some fun and unique ways. Fossil features a powerful new attacker for Rain Dance, the first Trainer Lock, the first Pokemon Power Lock, and one really crazy Ditto card. Let's take a look.
Mew versus Mewtwo.
Two of the most influential cards of the Fossil format weren't released in Fossil at all, but were promo cards. Promo Mewtwo is one of 4 movie promos handed out with the theatrical release of Pokemon the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, which released a month after Fossil in November of 1999. The best counter to Mewtwo, Mew, was released shortly after in January. Mewtwo is a versatile attacker and perfectly navigates the Fossil format. Since players can attack during the first turn going first, Mewtwo can easily power up Psyburn with a turn 1 energy absorption, threatening 40 damage turn 2. If Mewtwo gets hit with an energy removal, energy absorption keeps the Mewtwo powered up and ready to attack. Mewtwo also hits Hitmonchan for a weakness, dealing enough damage for a one-hit KO. Mewtwo's popularity directly impacted Hitmonchan's playability and changed the way the decks were built. Colorless Pokemon that used to cower in fear of Hitmonchan, like Wigglytuff and Clefable, get a huge boost in playability because of their hefty -30 psychic resistances. Pairing either of these attackers with Mewtwo gives them adequate coverage against Hitmonchan while acting as formidable walls against the popular Mewtwo. Despite Mewtwo's strength, it does not go unchecked. Mewtwo easily one-hit KOs itself, making Mewtwo a valid counter to other Mewtwo. Ditto, which we will talk about later, also disposes of Mewtwo relatively easily. Funny enough, the easiest way to KO Mewtwo is with Mewtwo's classic rival, Mew. Mew is a pretty unassuming Pokemon card. It only has 50 hit points, and its second attack is situational at best. Mew's Psywave, however, can one-hit KO a fully loaded Mewtwo with the help of a plus power for just 1 energy. The ability to swing the momentum with a one-hit KO in a format where KOs are difficult to come by is great. With only a single retreat cost, Mew can easily swing in and punish a fully loaded Mewtwo before retreating to the bench the following turn, pivoting to a different attacker. One of the coolest cards ever printed, Ditto assumes the form of whatever the opponent has in their active so long as Ditto is in the active position. That means that if your opponent has a 30 hit point Rattata in the active, Ditto becomes a Rattata. If there is, say, a Mewtwo in the active, Ditto becomes a Mewtwo. The crazy thing about Ditto is that its Pokemon power, Transform, turns all energy attached to it into energy of any type, meaning that double colorless energy essentially becomes double rainbow energy when attached to Ditto. In practice, this means that Ditto can transform into an opposing Mewtwo and Psyburn for a one-hit KO with just a basic energy and a double colorless energy attached. Despite its strength, Ditto is a double-edged sword. Because of its unique Pokemon power, the opponent can make crafty plays such as damaging it, then retreating into a Pokemon with less hit points to take a KO. Muk's Toxic Gas Pokemon power also completely shuts Ditto down. Muk's Toxic Gas Pokemon power shuts off all other Pokemon powers in play other than Toxic Gas. That's it. No other conditions required other than the fact that Muk cannot be affected by a special condition in order for the power to work. With an expensive and underwhelming attack, Muk is the definition of a bench sitter and pairs well with stronger attackers such as Electabuzz, Mewtwo, Clefable, and Wigglytuff. Up until this point, Pokemon with Pokemon powers already had trouble finding traction in the energy removal and last filled format. Muk makes it so that Blastoise and Venusaur have an even more difficult time finding their footing, while also giving big basic decks an easy out to stop Alakazam's damage swap. Fossil Magmar is a big step up from base set Magmar. It has the magic HP count of 70 and 2 efficient attacks that make it an excellent Haymaker style attacker that hits the popular Scyther for weakness. Smokescreen does 10 damage while giving your opponent's following attack a 50% fail rate. This is good for slowing down Mewtwo and making it so that Mewtwo cannot abuse energy absorption. It is also annoying for the opponent to deal with and may make them burn resources to try and play around it. For 2 fire energy, Smog does 20 damage and inflicts poison on a coin flip. Status conditions such as poison are still strong in this format, with mobility being relatively difficult. In practice, Magmar feels like a fire-type Electabuzz, and the Pokemon pair well together. Blastoise is one of the most iconic decks from the early Wizards of the Coast era. Blastoise's Pokemon power, Rain Dance, allows the player to play as many water energies from the hand to water-type Pokemon per turn as they want. Although Blastoise's Pokemon power is strong, the deck struggles to keep up with disruptions such as Lass and Muk. That being said, Articuno from Fossil definitely helps with Blastoise's playability. Articuno has 70 hit points, a relevant fighting resistance, and no weakness. One of the biggest issues with Blastoise is that Squirtle is weak to Electabuzz and only has 40 hit points. Articuno gives the deck a much needed wall for Squirtles and Blastoises to sit behind, while boasting some great attacks as well. Freeze Dry does 30 damage for 3 water energy and inflicts paralysis on a coin flip, while Blizzard deals 50 damage for 4 water energy and has a chance to ping 10 damage to the opponent's bench Pokemon. Using mostly Freeze Dry with the occasional Blizzard, Articuno easily takes 2-hit KOs on the most popular Pokemon in the game while avoiding any resistances and occasionally stealing turns with a lucky paralysis. When the deck sets up, it is a lot of fun to play. Psyduck's Headache attack may not seem like much, but when you consider that Pokemon could attack on the first turn of the game going first, Psyduck's Trainer Lock really starts to open the doors for some interesting strategies. Most decks from this era were nearly 50% trainer cards. Without trainers, the opponent will struggle to set up their board. Leading with Psyduck can allow you to set up a more complex strategy without the fear of gust or energy removal cards. Once a sweeper is set up, you can play Lass and try to sweep the game before the opponent draws out of it. I love this Moltres card. What an epic Pokemon. No weakness, 70 hit points, fighting resistance, and an attack that costs way too much energy and does 80 damage half the time. Despite not seeing any play in Fossil format, this card remains an option for fire decks going forward as an alternative win condition with Wildfire. Moltres' Wildfire attack lets you discard any number of fire energy attached to your Moltres as you like in order to mill that many cards from the top of your opponent's deck. Many games in the early Wizards of the Coast era end in Deck Out, and Moltres is a great option to pressure your opponent's resources. As if evolutions didn't have a hard enough time already, Aerodactyl's prehistoric power Pokemon power makes it so that no more evolution cards can be played. Yikes. And its attack, Wing Attack, which deals 30 damage for 3 colorless energy, means that Aerodactyl can easily be splashed into any deck as an attacker or a bench sitter. For the most part, evolution decks already had enough trouble in this format, so big basic decks didn't need to rely on Aerodactyl to shore up those matchups. Aerodactyl is, nonetheless, an extremely powerful card with a broken Pokemon power worth mentioning. Ghastly and Haunter from Fossil are powerful psychic Pokemon because of their free retreat, fighting resistances, and lack of weaknesses, hitting Mewtwo for weakness while not being hit for weakness in return. Ghastly's Lick deals 10 damage for a psychic and inflicts paralysis on a coin flip. Haunter, while not providing Ghastly with an HP boost, makes up for it with an amazing Pokemon power Transparency, which gives the opponent's attacks a 50% chance of failing to damage Haunter. For 2 energy, Haunter can deal 10 damage and automatically put the defending Pokemon to sleep, creating a lot of frustrating coin flips for the opponent. With many decks in the Fossil format playing multiple energy types, Energy Search is a nice addition to the pool of legal cards in Fossil format. Energy Search, which has been printed numerous times throughout the history of the Pokemon trading card game, fetches a basic energy from the deck and puts it to the hand. Sometimes that's all you need. Mr. Fuji is a powerful healing and recovery card. Not only does Mr. Fuji deny prizes by shuffling a Pokemon from the bench back into the deck, It also provides an option for players to avoid decking out, which was a common way to lose during this era. When combined with Mewtwo, a player can energy absorption, then switch the Mewtwo to the bench and use Mr. Fuji to put the Mewtwo with the energy back into the deck, refilling the deck with resources. As there was very little deck recovery during this time, Mr. Fuji is a valid and versatile option for players to consider when building their decks. Last but not least is Tentacruel. Tentacruel may only have 30 hit points, but its free retreat and Pokemon power, Cowardice, make it an excellent asset for damage swap Alakazam decks. Using Alakazam's damage swap, you can move 20 damage from your board to Tentacruel, then use Cowardice to pick the Tentacruel up to the hand, healing the damage, then place the card back down to use Cowardice again the following turn. The 20 damage per turn can add up, and makes Alakazam decks much more formidable to play against. And that's it for the Fossil video. Make sure to like the video, sub to the channel, ring that bell, and check out fullgripgames.com if you're looking to buy any cards from the Fossil set. If you're looking for more Pokemon trading card game content, make sure to check out the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/TrickyJim, where I stream live Pokemon trading card game content every single weekday.